This story is a couple weeks old, but I had to talk about it because it's really important. It's about the food you eat. It's about the meat you consume, if you're a meat eater. I know some people who watch are not. This is terrifying, and it's been underreported in my opinion. So The Hill says the following. 2 federal inspectors warned that mystery meat and other unwanted materials will contaminate pork throughout the U.S. under the new meat inspection rules currently being used in a pilot program. NBC News reported Monday. Food Safety and Inspection Services, FSIS inspectors, Anthony Vallone and Jill Maurer, told NBC News that they filed whistleblower disclosure forms with the Office of Special Counsel about their concerns with the reduction of the required number of federal inspectors at plants. The consumers being duped, Maurer said, adding that the meat may be more likely to contain feces, sex organs, toenails, bladders, and unwanted hair. A pilot program for the adjusted rules for pork lines has been implemented at 5 plants. 5 inspectors who worked at these plants talked to NBC News, while 4 others submitted affidavits with similar concerns. That is absolutely terrifying. This is not pork, but this is about pork. And you got people blowing the whistle who work at these companies. And they're saying, hey man, your pork is going to become mystery meat, and the mystery meat is going to have feces, toenails, hair, sex organs, everything in there. Because of lack of regulation, because now they're changing the regulation. So let me give you some more specifics. They say that it used to be the case there were 7 federal inspectors for the meat, I guess per plant, but they don't really specify. And now they're reducing that all the way down to 3 or 2. So there were 7, they want 3 or 2. So just cut the inspectors. And then in some instances, they're even saying no inspectors, and the plant employees, the plant's own employees can check the meat, and they don't have to meet any guidelines or do any federal training. So in that situation, just so everybody knows, what the companies would do is they would hire a yes man. They would hire somebody who just says, everything's up, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is good, regardless of what the meat is like. And they would pay that person basically specifically to shut up because they make more money if they just don't regulate and don't have quality control. So that's terrifying. Now, there are 35 other plants in the U.S. Total of 40. 5 of them have these, this deregulated meat inspection approach now. The other 35 plants are expected to apply for the new inspection rules. And then those 40 plants altogether produce 92% of the pork that Americans eat. So just understand, this is what happens with deregulation. This is what happens with deregulation. When you don't have quality control, you don't have rules, you don't have referees, you don't have strict enforcement of that, this is the result. The result is going to be terrible quality products, and it's going to be full of all the stuff that I just told you. Imagine feces and toenails and hair and sex organs and whatever, eyeballs, all that stuff in your meat. I don't know about you guys, man, but I am pro-regulation. That doesn't mean I'm for all regulations. It means I'm for intelligent regulations. I'm for regulations where it makes sense. And this is a problem, this is not just a U.S. problem, by the way. I mean, the Republicans believe in this crisis of deregulating everything. They believe that that's the right way to go, largely because they're bought off by the industry. But you see this in China. China's got terrible food safety regulations as well. Joe Rogan just spoke about this the other day on his podcast, where there had been reporting that a lot of the street vendors use shit water they take the oil somehow out of shit water and use that to cook like your dumplings and your noodles if you're ordering food from a street vendor. That this was a common practice. And this is the kind of stuff you see, man. This is the kind of stuff you see. It's not to individually pick on China. It's not to individually pick on the U.S. It's to say this ideology is wrong, and it leads to outcomes that people don't want. People want to make sure the food that they're eating is safe and not disgusting. People want to make sure the medicine they take isn't contaminated and it's mixed properly. I mean, if you don't have quality controls and regulation, in a lot of these mixing plants, what happens if you get a little bit of an ingredient, a pharmaceutical mixing plant I'm talking about, what happens when you get like a little bit of an ingredient that somebody's allergic to being mixed together in a pill that they have to take for an ailment? They could have an allergic reaction. They could die. This is why, like, it's so important. Regulation is so important. And, you know, we've also, I think we covered stories in the past. I forget the exact animal. It may have been raccoon or skunk. It might have been skunk. That there was this problem of people trying to pass off skunk meat as some other kind of meat because, you know, you save money that way by pretending that this meat is that meat. Oh, my God. Ugh. Now, I am not a vegan. I am not a vegetarian, but I'll tell you one thing. Pork is gone. Done. I ain't eating pork no more. You crazy? Are you insane? I'm not eating pork anymore. Why would I? I'm going to eat the toenails and hair and feces and eyeballs and sex organs and ugh. By the way, I think that might already be the ingredients of hot dogs. It's similar. It might not be exactly the same. I don't think feces is in there, but yeah. And then the other thing is, of course, if we have like an unregulated, you know, meat production system in this country, it could lead to, you know, sickness. Like you could have the spread of disease that happens a lot quicker, because part of the inspections is a safety angle to it. So I am pro-regulation for sure, and you should be too. Again, that doesn't mean you're in favor of all regulation, like, you know, red tape to get in people's way on purpose. No, I think we can all agree that that's bad, but intelligent safety regulations, food inspections, I mean, to not be in favor of that, you have to either be bought off by the industry or a silly ideologue who does not change their mind with new evidence presented.